So the Colorado Springs City Council election is over. It's done. It's decided. Guess what? There has been some people who got their same seats, and then there were some who didn't. There are some new people. The election in Colorado Springs were ballots, mail-in ballots, and if you hadn't mailed them in time, you could drop them off at different drop-off locations throughout the city. So kind of interesting way to vote for city council. They also had 3 ballot initiatives, one having to do with municipal electricity, one having to do with something else, and another one having to do with, and so there were 83,244 total ballots that were returned. So 83,000 people had voted, and that's a 31.67% voter turnout, so about 32% turnout rate, which is not good. That's not the majority of the people. The majority of the people said, fuck this government, fuck voting, fuck participating in our democracy. And in case you didn't know, the executive, the 3 branches of government is the executive branch, the legislative branch, and the judicial branch. And if you wanted to name a Supreme Court justice, there's Kagan, right? There's Sonia Sotomayor. I think Bader Ginsburg is still in there. It's Chief Justice Roberts, right? It's the Roberts Court. And there are other ones, right? There's 9 of them. There are 9 Supreme Court justices. Why would there be 9 Supreme Court justices, but for right now there's only 8, because Gorsuch hasn't been confirmed yet, nor was Obama's pick. But that's why Gorsuch hasn't been picked, because the Obama pick, they filibustered that thing for 2 years. So they should filibuster Gorsuch for 2 years too. I would do the exact same thing. Okay, so Samuel Alito, Sonia Sotomayor, Elena Kagan, Clarence Thomas, Stephen Breyer, Anthony Kennedy, John Roberts, and Ruth Bader Ginsburg. So that's the 8 Supreme Court justices. One more time. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, John Roberts, Anthony Kennedy, Stephen Breyer, Clarence Thomas, Elena Kagan, Sonia Sotomayor, and Samuel Alito. It's like for my audience to be well informed and to know what the hell's going on. So 83,000 total ballots were returned, 32% voter turnout rate in the Colorado Springs City Council election, also the 3 ballot initiatives. All of the ballot issues were passed. Number 1, the ballot issue number 1, approve or decline an amendment to the city charter concerning the currently city-owned utilities. So there's going to be an amendment to the city charter of Colorado Springs concerning the currently city-owned utilities. So that's not good or bad. That's actually very neutral. It's just an amendment to the city charter is going to be added about the city-owned utilities. I think Pueblo should buy the electric company around here, the Black Hills, Energy, which is everybody's all pissed off at. And we're going to be, green by 2030. So ballot issue number 2 was passage means that the city of Colorado Springs can spend $6 million Tabor surplus on 26 stormwater projects. So 26 stormwater projects. And residents will get $10 to $16 refunded to them through a credit and utility bills. So something about stormwater projects, I don't know. They all passed it, so apparently they were more informed than I am. Stormwater, that seems like a good idea, right? To make sure the stormwater is going, not like fucking people's shit up. Ballot issue number 3, approve or decline the city working closely with telecommunication firms for providing high-speed internet and other telecommunication services. So they're allowing the city to work with the telecommunication industry, right? So Comcast, Xfinity, Sprint, AT&T, District 1, the incumbent Don Knight gets right back in there. Old Don Knight, the muskrat catcher. So we got the muskrat catcher. He got 67% of the vote for District 1. District 3, Richard Scorman won with 57% of the vote against Chuck Fowler. So sayonara, Chuck Fowler, you're out of here. Now Richard Scorman is there. Dick Scorman. He is, of course, well known for figure skating, one of the best figure skaters in Colorado Springs. District 4 challenger Yolanda Villa won with more than 40% of the vote. Deborah Hendricks followed with 31%. Incumbent Helen Collins came in last with 28%. That's actually only a plurality. That's not a majority. So check the city charter because District 4 may have to rerun. This might have to be another election coming up. Then you have District 5 incumbent Jill Gabler, won with 66% of the vote. And of course, Jill Gabler was all about getting the city more bike paths because she's a progressive, a revolutionary progressive socialist. She's one of the first socialists in Colorado Springs. District 6 incumbent Andres G. Pico won with 52% of the vote over 3 challengers. So he was able to get a majority of the vote over 3 challengers, but District 4 only got a plurality, 40%, 31%, 28%. None of that's a clear majority. So what should happen is Yolanda Avila should run against Deborah Hendricks. There should be a runoff election. If there was instant runoff voting, that's what would happen. Ranked choice voting. Ranked choice voting is the only fair, decent, smart way. It increases your voices, increases your choices. I'm a little bit perplexed because District 1, 3, 4, 5, and 6 were all accounted for, but where's District 2? Is there only 6 districts? Is there 7 and 8? And if so, then is it staggered? Is that what's going on right now? We have a staggered election. It's only half of them. But why 3, 4, 5, 6? Why in a row like that? That seems weird. Maybe they're missing District 2. If District 2 is missing, we need to put out an APB alert, and someone needs to find it. Someone needs to find District 2 because Colorado Springs, you are missing your 2nd district. Who's running? Is there a District 2? And if so, who's in charge? There's a power shift, according to this article. They said it's surreal. There's 1 incumbent, 2 incumbents, 3 incumbents, 1 out of the 5. And then 1 just says against opponent, so I don't even know. They probably both were newcomers. And then the other 1 did beat. So only 1 incumbent lost. Only pathetic. Only 1 incumbent lost. So we have an incumbency rate of 95% of 80% in this election. 80% of all incumbents got to keep their job. Actually, the District 3, it looks like since they didn't name the incumbent that perhaps the incumbent resigned. And this was just an open seat for whoever. And so that's not a loss for the incumbent since they resigned, but it does represent a new person in the chair. So out of 5, 3 of them were incumbents, 2 of them were not. So 2 of them are new people. So that does change out the board, but the 3 incumbents outweigh the 2. So the 2 people will have to try to vie for power, try to scratch and claw and actually get some power. I think that I am confident that none of these assholes know what the fuck they're doing. This spells disaster for Colorado Springs. All of the ballots have actually came in from the overseas, the military. Their votes haven't came in, and so we still have to wait till the 12th for them to come in, and then the 16th to have them certified. So April 16th, I believe. If I'm looking at these numbers, there's 52%, but that was over 3 challengers, 40% over 31%. I don't know. All these victories seem to be pretty substantial. I don't know if the overseas ballots that will be collected, and certified April 14th, collected by the 12th, and final election results will be certified April 14th. So we actually have 9 days, for it to have the permanent stamp of approval. But I think that these numbers and these votes are pretty much exactly, as we see them tonight. So check out the ballot issues. We're going to have to write the laws for each one. Because we're being sued by the EPA, we do need to show that we are investing in our community and our stormwater infrastructure, Gabler says. Gabler, the President Pro Tem Jill Gabler, she was the right-wing Republican, the neo-Nazi, not the KKK, but the offshoot of the KKK, the Grand Wizard Knights. Very, seedy character. She says that she's, glad that ballot issue number 2 passed because now they'll be able to raise about $12 million for storm water projects. And, yeah, so there is a little bit of the racism, but, now you're getting stormwater projects. So, I guess there's a give and take. I'm not for sure. Colorado Springs, it looks very pessimistic for you all. Probably lots more abortion clinic shootings. This will probably continue to forgive Colorado Springs a little bit because there was a snowstorm. And so 32% is actually higher than Kentucky during a gubernatorial race, which they only, get 15 or less. And so 32%, that's 82,000 people came out in April. Like, who would have thought, like, an election would have happened, like, this is like a primary date or whatever, but this is the makeup of the city council and 3 major ballot initiatives. So that's great that 32% of the public did get out there. 82,000 Coloradans had got to vote, had got to be a part of their government, their democracy. Of course, all the descriptions of all these city council members, I don't know any of them, so it's all made up, including that one. There was contradicted. I said she was a progressive at one point, and then all of a sudden she became, part of the Klan. I don't know any of these people, so, we get to discover who they actually are, right? Since Boulder has moved to Colorado Springs, somebody quibbled, and then there's a sea change in how progressive Colorado Springs will be perceived. Also reelected were conservative councilmen Don Knight and Andy Pico, and issues 1, 2, and 3 passed handedly. There's $90 ounces in Colorado Springs, $90 ounces. But I heard that for most of the stores, you got to have a medical marijuana card. And I don't know if that's true or not. I've only heard that. But there's probably like 5 or 6 stores. All of them are $90 ounces. So conservative Don Knight and Andy Pico, these are the right-wing fascists. So this is a victory for neo-Nazis. This looks very bad. This looks very bad for Colorado Springs. In fact, I bet they don't even know that the police work for the executive branch, not the judicial branch. The president or the mayor is the one who's got the thing about the utilities. It requires a supermajority vote now before significant utilities resources can be sold. So apparently in Pueblo there's a decision about whether or not the city should buy the electric company, but once the government buys the utilities, then it's all she wrote, right? Then they hang on to that for dear life. So a supermajority vote can only let them relinquish some of the assets that the government has acquired. Also, $6 million this year, they said, for stormwater from excess tax revenues. So $12 million is what I heard the one person say. And then they said free in the city to have competitive telecommunications and cable TV, respectively. Free in the city to have competitive telecommunications and cable TV. I'm not for sure exactly what that seems leading. Objection, leading the witness. What do you mean it's freeing the? So considering that 68% of the people in Colorado Springs overwhelmingly rejected to not vote in the election. They said they weren't going to participate in the government. They stayed in solidarity, and they said, fuck this government, fuck this democracy. So now there's no democratic legitimacy. None of these candidates, none of these people have any authority whatsoever because it requires a majority, and all they got was the majority of 32%. So they got 16, 17% of the people, and one of them only got plurality. One of them only got 40% of their district. So, 82,000 people did vote, but the overwhelming vast majority stood up and protested and said, fuck this government, so there's no democratic legitimacy, which means there are no leaders. Nobody is running Colorado Springs as of today. So may